They installed the raised median, and they were very careful when they did this. They had to avoid the holiday shopping period because, as we heard earlier, US 90 is the economic engine in the Biloxi area. This Parks Mall, this big regional shopping center, and all the retail around it is kind of one of the economic engines for Arlington. And the city said, whatever you do, don't be putting raised medians in there and have that street the least bit torn up during holiday shopping season. So they didn't. They did that right. They planned ahead. So you get the raised median in there, and then all of a sudden you realize, even with somewhat of a directional opening here, this traffic coming toward us gets into this left turn bay, can make their left turn. It's not designed, it's not set up for this vehicle to turn left through here, correct? Right? Okay. However, before this sign was installed, people would stop and make that left turn through there because there wasn't a sign that said, I can't do it. Okay. So we had to come back and figure out, okay, well, we're not going to allow the left turns. We're not going to allow that. So then they would come through and say, okay, I'll make a U-turn. Says you can't make a left turn, but it doesn't say you can't make a U-turn. And the police department really had a heck of a time with enforcement of this deal because it said left turns were prohibited. Doesn't say anything about U-turns. So they had to come up with this, at least for this area, a new sign that says no left and no U-turns. Well, that finally got rid of the problem of people stopping in the through lane waiting to make an illegal turn through a barely passable median opening. Now, what could have been done? And I'll let you know, I'm going to talk about the safety impacts, but I also want to share, because I think it's very important, especially in a case study like this, to share the lessons learned in all of the different little design or the intricacies that come about. Because it's easy to say, hey, we put a raised median down there, crash rates drop, boom, great story. But there are some things you need to think about. So if you're going to apply these things in your areas, you might want to consider, actually channelizing that turn bay where it's painted along here, put something, if you can fit something in there, a little curb, so that you can physically prevent that movement. That's kind of our lesson learned there. Okay, in this one, basically we're trying to separate the left turn maneuvers away from each other so you don't have those two vehicles coming head on towards each other. So, in the past where this vehicle and this one may have come right up towards each other, kind of like we saw before, the two vehicles trying to turn into those unaligned driveways. So you've separated those movements out. You actually kind of give some better visual. This person has a better chance at seeing if there's oncoming traffic or not, kind of find their gap through there, as opposed to having to look around that vehicle that's right in front of them. The question was, how wide was the twiddle? 16 foot, 14 foot, it was 12 foot. So, as far as I think it was 12 feet. They squeezed this puppy in there. There's no extra right of way. The only thing that really narrowed the outside lanes were 12 lanes. The other lanes were 11, best of my memory. And they narrowed the outside lane to 11 feet. And they added a little bit in the twiddle to be able to put those raised medians in there and have some curbage where they needed it to delineate the left turn bays. There were some other problems. Here's another lesson learned. So if you're going to do this and something that apparently wasn't thought of ahead of time at this point or in this location, there were some folks who either unfamiliar with the area or, oops, I forgot there's a raised median now, especially at dusk or at nighttime. They're coming off of one of these side streets or driveways and they want to make a left turn where that median is, and they get up there and realize, oh crud, I'm going to have to go over this thing or turn the wrong way now. It wasn't as visible as it could have been. So he came back and added some raised pavement markers and a yellow stripe along here, reflective to the headlights or even in the daylight, that really shows, hey, there's something happening here. It's another lesson learned. Make sure those raised medians are visible to the cross-street, cross-driveway traffic. Here's something else that was kind of interesting. You may or may not have to face this in one of your corridors. The way the road was crowned, the way the alignment was, the water was going to drain towards this side of the roadway. If that raised median were continuous curb through there, we're going to have some serious ponding, okay? So they decided, well, we need to break their curb line, or the raised median, narrow as it was, into some pieces so we can allow for water to come through there. Fortunately, that's one of the things they realized in the design process. They did that right from the beginning. This wasn't something they had to go back and fix. So again, may seem like something I like to call from the book of duh, but make sure you realize if you have a difference in your crowning, if you're going to have some ponding situations related to your raised median, think about a treatment something like this. Now, another lesson learned. Make sure everybody has a chance to check the plans that show not just where the driveway and the raised median are, but things like fire hydrants and water lines and stuff. At this location, there was a left turn in, so we had a left turn bay about where that truck is, to come into a driveway at a furniture store. Everything seemed to be okay from the people who were designing and setting up the median openings. Everyone thought it was okay because there's going to be an opening and a left turn in for the driveway. But when it came down to the last minute, right before they put the median in, someone said, oh, we've got they were actually rebuilding the driveway too, as part of one of these things to help with some cross-access. And they realized, oh, there's a fire hydrant here. We got to move the driveway north just about, 5 feet or 7 feet. You can take care of that? Yeah, I'll take care of that, no problem. Well, nobody told the raised median people. So this raised median opening didn't exactly line up with the driveway that it was serving. So they had to come back and tear out some of the raised median and extend it so that now you could actually make a nice turn that you would think that you're going to make and not have to do a little snake dance to get through there.